Welcome to episode 17 of the Unstoppable podcast. This is part 2 of the interview with John Holowaty. My name is Dan J. Gregory, and I am committed to hunting down the secrets of business mastery and human performance. My goal for the Unstoppable podcast is to share insights from some of the most successful entrepreneurs, inspiring thought leaders, world-class athletes, and prominent celebrities to help you to become unstoppable in business and life. Each week I'll be bringing you a new interview with an inspiring person and sharing my own results as I pursue the answers to the question, how can I create the ultimate edge in my business, make a significant impact, and live an extraordinary life? Welcome to the Unstoppable podcast. This is part 2 of the interview of John Holowaty. For those of you who listened to the previous episode, you will know that we had some technical issues, but we are back. So let's dive right back in. Cool. Well, welcome back to the Unstoppable podcast. In the theme of the podcast, we were recording this episode in the secret location, as you know, and unfortunately the podcast stopped, but in the vein of not being stoppable, we are back. John is now in Las Vegas. It's not quite as glamorous as the M5 or whatever it was, services that were in so he's upgraded his location. It looks like he's in a wonderful hotel. He's just showing me the view. So we are back for the final round. We've just got a few questions to finish up. In the vein of being unstoppable, John is here. We're ready to rock and roll. So John, we're about to talk about what does it take to be unstoppable in your industry. And you were going to speak to me about what your personal daily disciplines and what it takes to be successful in network marketing.
Yeah, cool, man. And like you said, it's about being unstoppable, making sure that we carry on with this. So although a lot of the stuff has been lost into the universe, I'm hopefully going to try and bring it back.
It's going to tunnel it through. It's coming.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So the daily disciplines for me have kind of changed. I'll be honest with you. When I was building it part-time, it was all a case of just hustle, do whatever I could, knowing that if I did something, it was better than doing nothing. If that makes sense. So if I had a spare 10 minutes, I would send someone a message, I'd give someone a phone call. I always used to talk about this, when you're a PT, when your business is growing in network marketing, if you're a personal trainer, your clients start doing a lot more planks. And what I mean by that is when my business was growing like really, really rapidly, my phone was blowing up. It was, it was beeping, it was vibrating, it was ringing. And I'd have my phone in my pocket and I'd be like, shit, I've really got to get back to that person. I really need to check that message, make sure that order's gone through, make sure the promotion's been confirmed. And I've got like clients in the gym and I'm like, so rude to get your phone out and start texting. So what I'd do sometimes, I'd be like, right, plank for a minute. Like I just throw in a random plank. They'd obviously get into the plank position. I'd get my phone out quickly, check the message. I'd be like, yeah, bam, put that final order through. Let's confirm the promotion. And before you knew it, it was just a case of like trying to squeeze as much into the day as you can. Like that's where I was at when I was building. I was that excited about my future. Stupid things. I mean, we all do it, like text driving. I'm not advocating that, by the way, but I was just on a roll where as soon as I got to a traffic light, if I was stuck in traffic, I'd be on my phone. I'd be messaging people. I'd be catching up. So I literally did squeeze everything and anything into my day. I was living at my mum and dad's at the time, and I used to go from finishing a boot camp at like 8:30, 9 o'clock at night, straight over to a meeting. Do an event, close a meeting, meet some people, whatever, and then I'd be getting home about 1 o'clock. Then I'd be getting back up at 6 in the morning, doing my boot camps and my PT sessions. And it was just what I would call it is disorganized momentum.
Nice.
Like some people kind of have their day like mapped out. I've got to do this, and this, and I've never been a great planner, but I've just been right. Shit, I've got to do this. I've got to make sure I speak to that person. And like I said, it was disorganized momentum. We didn't know where it was coming from. We didn't know how we were doing it. We were just doing it. And it was like, if you've got a spare hour in the day, I'd be worried that I was wasting it. So I'd do something to build my business. Obviously now I'm full-time in network marketing. It's a little bit different. The opposite thing kind of happens. You kind of have all this time and you're like, what am I going to do? And again, I live off fear a little bit. I kind of think, right, I'm wasting that hour. If I spend that that morning, like lay in bed doing nothing, that's wasted. That could affect 5 years in my future. So one thing that I read a book called Eat a Frog for Breakfast. I think it's Brian Tracy who wrote that. Yeah. Really, really cool book. Just about getting the worst things done out of your day in the morning. Getting like, if you've got to ring the bank and pay a bill, or you've got to nip somewhere and grab some stuff, or you've got to take your suit to the dry cleaners. Like, these are things that aren't that important, but they play on your mind that you've got to get them done. And for me, the biggest thing that I took from that book was writing lists. And Jim Rohn says it. He says, if you get up in the morning and you don't know what you've got to do that day, you've completely wasted the day. So for me, I write lists now. The majority of the time, I have whiteboards everywhere in the house. I've actually, for the first time ever in my life, I brought a whiteboard to America with me. I've got a whiteboard in my suitcase. Not a massive one, but it fits in perfectly. So now I know that I'm in the hotel room. I can rewrite my vision board up. I can write my list of things to do. And obviously, despite looking over the Bellagio fountains, if I look to my right, I've got my whiteboard there on the sofa. So I'm really organized now compared to where I used to be. Another big thing is outsourcing. Is like, you should be doing the things that you're really, really good at and the things that you love, which for me is meeting new people and training people how to be better. So if I'm like, I would say 80% of my time in my business should be on meeting new people and training new people how to be better. There's obviously little bits of admin that come in, but the majority of the things you should be outsourcing. So if it's flyers or graphic design work, you should be outsourcing that. You don't get paid for doing a flyer. So find someone to do it for you on Fiverr or Odesk or something like that. The same with websites. If you're like, right, I'll start building my business when I've created this website. Well, you don't get paid to create a website. So you're better off be getting somebody else to do it. And that frees you up the time to do what you get paid for, which is bringing in customers, bringing in distributors and teaching them to do the same thing. So for me, it's all about organization now, working really, really intensively in what you're doing. And I guess like a story where that's come true for me now is someone asked me the other day, they text me and asked me if I've got a twin. And they weren't like meaning is he single. They meant they meant you work so hard that it's like you've got a twin. You're everywhere. You're always doing stuff. And yeah, don't get me wrong, I do work really, really hard, but I've also outsourced stuff to other people that are doing my social media, that are helping me with my websites, that are kind of pushing me and putting me in the right areas to step things up on another level. So that's kind of my daily disciplines now. Still events, still Zoom calls. The way the world is at the moment, like everything's on our side in network marketing, even in entrepreneurship, everything's on your side. Like gone are the days that you need to drive down to London and do an event. My dad was telling me about a meeting in his business yesterday. He said, I got stuck on the train for 3 hours and then, because of the flooding and stuff, and the meeting went on without me. I was like, why are you even going to a meeting? Why aren't you just Skyping in? Like, surely, surely you can do that now, right? I mean, we're blessed because we're younger. We obviously get all this stuff, and he's still doing things that, you'd do in the 1950s to go and do business meetings down in London. Like, I get if it's vital and it's got to be face-to-face, but lean into technology. It's like now we could have gone, you know what, we missed the last 20 minutes of the podcast. Let's just put out the short version. We're like, hell no, let's do it. We can use technology, so we're doing it over the phone. Simple as that. So I've still got that little bit of disorganized chaos a little bit about me. Like I've pitched about 4 people while I've been traveling to the States, people that I've just met at the airport restaurants and stuff, and people that I've met on the plane. Great thing, great little tip. If you want to meet new people, like always book the middle seat on the plane. Nice. You got someone to speak to on the left ear, you got someone to speak to on the right ear. So yeah, that's what I'd say. Disorganized chaos when you're really, really building, and then disorganized momentum. And then I would say it's kind of like get your list done, get your things written up, and have a strategy, and also planning some downtime. I like to work out in the morning as well before I've done anything else. It's like this morning I was like, right, I'll get back to my messages once I've hit the gym, and then I feel better. You always feel better when you've done something that discipline, that kind of reward for being disciplined. Like, I feel great now. I've trained today. I can crack on without having to worry about getting in the gym.
Yeah, John came on to, talking of technology, John came onto the show flexing his guns. He was just showing his progress before we were talking about putting out his bonus footage afterwards. So we've heard about daily disciplines, John. What's the number one reason why people fail in this industry?
The number one reason they fail, I would say they probably come into it with mixed expectations, or what's the bigger expectations in what you can do in a short space of time. So Tony Robbins says this. He says most people overestimate what you can do in a year and underestimate what they can do in 5 years, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So people come into network marketing and they're like, I'm going to be rich in a week. I'm going to hammer this business. I'm going to smash it up. I'm going to take it to new levels never before seen. I'm going to change the world. And they get a couple of no's and they're like, right, I thought it would be easier than this. The amount of people that have left the industry because they thought it would be easier than this is really, really high. And the person who I brought in, the first ever distributor that I signed up, quit after 2 weeks because he said it was too hard. Wow. Now, it isn't too hard. It's just that he set himself really, really high expectations. And as soon as he got a couple of no's, he'd never had to deal with no before in his life. And, what I'd say is fall in love with the word no. You've got to really love that word no. You've got to flip it. We've been told no all our lives by our parents when we were kids, by our teachers at school. Later on in life, no, 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 no. So in our minds, it's a negative word. So when you get a no in network marketing, when someone says, no, I can't make it to your event, no, I'm not interested in your product, no, I'm not interested in your business, that hurts. You've got to eliminate that pain. So you actually fall in love with the word no, which means, great, I've got another no. That means I'm on track for a yes. And if you do that, you'll be successful. But that's the reason for me, the number one reason. They come in and they do it all wrong. They verbally vomit all over people. Like, they network market all over the Facebook. They network market all over the friends and family. And it's like, before you did this, you never mentioned this stuff. Now you don't talk about anything else. Don't forget to be a human being, guys. If your uncle's chatting about the football and you're having a really good conversation, don't cut him off and bring up your product or your opportunity. You know what I mean? And I see people do it all the time, yeah, but let's just talk about this. And it's like, no, be a human being about things. Be a normal person. There's a time and a place to pitch your product, to pitch your opportunity, and build relationships. And, become a friend with somebody. Become a friend before you kind of pitch the business. Of course, there's obviously other tactics where you can go in and you can go for really quick no's. I was teaching my guys on this the other day, how to get a really quick no, but they're better done with cold market prospects, so you're not alienating people in what you're doing. And I think that's the number one reason people leave, they quit the industry. They also come in mainly for the wrong reasons. I wasn't making any money in my first year, even in my second year, so why did I stay? I stayed because I made some great friends and I was having a lot of fun. And I was getting personal development, So the money wasn't really all right, I joined for the money, but I actually got so much more than money when it came to this industry. I made friends for life. I had amazing experiences, traveled the world, did some cool things. And that's what I loved about it. So maybe, if your people that have left, or the people that are listening to this that are just solely in it for the money, you might need to readdress the whole reason why you're doing this in the first place. Because when you nail it down, it's probably not about money. You can live an incredible lifestyle from £5,000 a month. In network marketing, if you earn $5,000 a month, you can actually be richer than a multimillionaire. I know people that are earning massive amounts of money, but they've still got to be in the office at 9 o'clock in the morning on a Monday. Do you know what I mean? Mm. So you don't have to do that with network marketing. You can earn $5,000 a month, and you can be sat in a holiday resort somewhere in the Caribbean, building your business on your laptop. All right, you might not be earning multi millions, but the guy who's earning that is in Canary Wharf in London, sat at an office. So, That's the cool thing. I mean, getting your expectations right and realizing the real reason why you're doing this business. And I think if you do that, you'll reduce those. But that's for me the answer to that question, buddy.
I think it's so important what you've said there about finding something beyond the money. I remember asking someone, they set a really ambitious goal in terms of what their income level wanted to be. And I asked them, what will you do with that money if you achieve that this year? And they could not answer the question. So I said to that person, how likely do you think you're to achieve that level of income if you don't even know what you need it for? You don't even know what you want it for. So it's so important to have something beyond the money. And I was watching a Steve Jobs documentary at the weekend, and we all know that he was a massively, massively successful human being with huge wealth. But he was focused on making a dent in the universe. He was focusing on putting a computer in every single home. And the money was a byproduct. That was not his primary focus. And imagine how life would have been different if it was his primary focus. We probably wouldn't have iPods and iPhones and everything else.
Well, he'd have quit, right? Because he failed so many times when he was building it.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? So if it was about the money, he would have quit. I think the great thing what you can do, guys, for the ones that are listening to this is draw out your perfect day. Like, what would your perfect day look like? So what time would you get up? What would you eat for breakfast? What would you do in the first sort of 25% of the day, your morning, coming into brunch time? What would you do in the afternoon? Who would you spend time with? What would your evenings look like? Where would you go? What would you do? And what time would you go to bed at night? And then kind of bring it into your perfect week. What would your perfect week look like? And once you start to do that, you can kind of realize that you don't actually need that much money to live the total life of abundance that you want. And the big thing for me, man, is like I've readdressed my goals, and I know that's coming up in a question about what I want to do. But the big thing is serving other people and making a dent in the universe totally.
Absolutely. So let's go into that. That's a good segue into the next question. So, what are you most excited about moving forward? I know when we met back in the UK, you were talking about big plans for the future. What are you most excited about?
Yeah, I just think the timing's right for this industry now. I think the timing's right for moving it forward another level. We got social media on our side, we got technology on our side. People are looking to make more money. The world's changed. People aren't coming out of university and going, right, I'm going to head straight into the big cities and get a job working for a corporate firm. I think it's kind of the century of the entrepreneur moving forward now, and it's time to capitalize on that stuff. And for me personally, I want to see more places, I want to serve more people, and I want to do more things. And I've got other businesses that I'm now running, and I've got other things that are kind of going forward. I've created some industry training products. I've started doing daily emails specific to the industry. I think I got a cool story to share. It wasn't really instant success for me, and the reasons that I stayed in it. And I've learned a lot. And I just feel like you're selfish if you learn something and you don't pass that knowledge on to somebody. Like, as human beings, we're designed to do that. If you drove to London and you knew your mate was coming a few hours later and one of the motorways was shut down, you would send him a message and say, listen, you might want to think about rerouting because that motorway is closed. Like, that's the same thing that I'm trying to do now with my guys. It's like, look, I've messed up. I've done these mistakes. I'm telling you not to do this stuff so you can benefit from my lessons. And, I'm all about stretching it. I want to take this into other areas. The company that I'm with isn't in a lot of countries at the moment, so we're looking to kind of expand and take this business model to some new areas. So I'm excited about that as well. Just traveling, growth, and doing cool stuff. I'm all about fun. I'm all about showing people that life's for living and having fun. And that's where I want to go with it, man. You might come back as a pigeon, so enjoy it while it lasts and live every day. You know what I'm saying?
Well, if you do come back as a pigeon, you still got the opportunity to travel, right?
Yeah, you got it. Yeah. Albeit be in the next Home Alone movie.
Yeah, that's if Macaulay Culkin. Let's move into the quick fire round now then. So if you were starting out again, John, knowing everything that you know now, what would you do first?
What would I do first? I'd master social media. So I built my business face to face. As simple as that. Everybody that kind of has been a success in my business so far, I've known personally. Started to get a little bit from social media now, but that's what I would do is I would master social media, and I'd obviously be a lot more confident about what I was doing. I wouldn't spam people. I kind of did that the wrong way. You know, I touched on that earlier. Every conversation was about my company, about my product. But I guess to create that mass and to create that momentum, you've got to kind of make a few mistakes along the way. The other thing that I would say is like confidence and belief. Like that is just be really, really confident about where you're going and about what you're doing. Like there's that saying, fake it to make it, which I don't like at all. I'm not into that kind of stuff. I think people can smell that bullshit a mile off. But there's nothing wrong with saying this. Like, I ain't there yet, but I'm going there. Like, we've only just started. We're not making any money yet, but I've seen it. I'm excited. I just know that you'll be successful at it as well. I really, really recommend that you come with me and do this stuff, because I just don't want to look back in a year's time and wish I'd have told you or wish I'd have tried harder to get you in. Like, that's more exciting than saying, yeah, I'm making $5,000 a month and I've only been in it 2 weeks. Do you know what I mean? It's like that there's just no point in that, because when that person comes in and they don't do it, they'll soon figure out that you lied to them. You've also set them an unrealistic target. Like, people do what you do in this industry. They don't do what you say. So I was brutally honest with people, and I think that's the way to be going forward is make sure you're honest, but you have that belief. So maybe if I was advising myself back then, it'd have been, be a bit more louder and prouder about what you're doing and where you're going, and sell excitement. Don't sell fake results. You know, sell excitement. Like, the train's leaving the station, buddy. Get involved or get left behind. Like, that's the kind of message that you want to be saying. It ain't working for me yet. I've only just started. I don't even know what I'm doing, but I believe in the concepts. I believe in the process, and I believe in myself. And I know I'm going to be taking a lot of people with me on this journey. I'd love you involved. You know, that kind of message is so, so powerful. And it's changed for me recently. It's funny, you know, I was parked up outside the Jewelers the other day. I've got a nice Range Rover, and a guy who I've sort of been talking to about the opportunity for on and off for a few years. He's been watching what I've been doing on social media. He was walking across the road. I give him a little beep, and he come over. He was like, man, what you do? This is crazy. What's happened? We used to be at uni together. I was a bit of a dropout back then. And he's working in debt management and stuff. And I just flipped it on him straight away. And I didn't pressure or try and sell him. I was just like, mate, you're missing a trick. Like, get involved in this stuff. You've been watching me for years do this. Why haven't you messaged me? Like, you're getting left behind. You're doing that job great. What are you earning? 30 grand a year? Which is great, by the way. I'm not slagging it off, but think about the potential you've got. You work in debt management. How many people do you know that would like an extra 500 a month part-time? Come on, you're leaving so much money on the table. You've got to do this. I'm going to send you some information tonight. Watch it. Let me know what you like about it, and then we can get started. So I'd almost put him into the business. I'd basically said, you're crazy if you don't do this. Do you know what I mean? And that's the difference in, that wasn't me trying to sell him. That was me trying to say, I really truly believe that you could do really well. And I'm putting you in this position, like, where you'd be mad not to do it. And I think that's all about belief. Whereas if I'd have gone, you might be able to make a bit of money in it. I'm not sure. But, if you're not sure, they're not sure. If they're not sure, they ain't going to sign.
Absolutely. I think one thing that I took from that is that if you approach someone with such a level of confidence and belief, it might just be the confidence and belief that they need. And the energy that you give to them in that moment is something that opens their eye to something different. Because, I've heard countless stories of people where it took until they worked with a mentor to really get the belief in themselves to then go to that next level. So having that confidence, it might just be the one thing that someone needs, regardless of the opportunity. It's just that you are giving them the opportunity to believe in themselves and act as their mentor in that way.
You 100% got it. I said to him, look, I don't need you to get involved in this. I ain't even trying to sign you up for me. I'm trying to sign you up for you. Look at the potential. When's your next pay rise coming in? I don't know. We haven't even been told anything like that. We probably won't get one. Right. So the only way you're going to get a pay rise is if you create a pay rise for yourself. Yeah, I get it. And he 100% bought my confidence, not only in the thing that I'm doing, but in my ability to take him on the journey with him. And he's signing up like today. He's messaged me this morning, believe it or not, having looked at all the information. And it's like, that's the way you've got to do it. Think about, like, stop trying to put things on them for you. You know, start to remember, like, when you recommended an amazing movie. No, like, you really got to see this movie. You'll absolutely love it. It's hilarious. You ain't recommending that because you get a cut of cinema sales. You're recommending that because you want them to have a really positive experience. And I think in network marketing, we go by it the wrong way, and we're recommending it because we want them in our business for us. Like, I wanted him in my business for him. And that's the way to do it. And I think that's what I would do with my belief. I remember kind of half-heartedly pitching so many people where, you know, luckily I got a second chance, but, you know, I could have lost those guys. I remember one of my top leaders, I'd never really forced her to get a meeting because I thought she'd be too big for it. I thought it was on a chicken list. But I think belief in yourself is the number one thing, and that's what I talked about earlier, about being this superhero version of you. You know, really imagining yourself as that person. And every minute you get, like I was doing it on the flight over here, I've got my eyes shut, I'm visualizing me speaking at events, walking into rooms, chatting to people. And you just slip into that person whenever that opportunity comes up, because you're building that self-conscious muscle of your subconscious.
What would you say to someone who perhaps is struggling to see the vision for themselves?
Yeah, I think it's focus on what you want and focus on why it will happen. If you ask yourself those two questions every time you do your visionary stuff, like, what do you want and why will it happen? What do you want and why will it happen? What do you want and why will it happen? It's like, what do I want? I want to do this, 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 and this. Why will it happen? Because I'm in charge of my own destiny. I know people that can help me. I've got the vision before. I've learned the lessons, blah, 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 blah. Everything's in my favor. There's a great audio, The Magic of Thinking Big. It's one of the very first ones, really cool. And that's what that stuff taught me as well.
Awesome. So on to our final question then, John. What does it mean to be unstoppable to you?
Well, I think we've proved that. Just doing whatever it takes to get the job done. Like, we set out to do this podcast. We met up where we were in the services in the middle of the UK, and then it broke down, and we said, like, oh, I can't believe it. Some of that was great content, and we've lost it forever. But we were like, no, let's do it again. Let's do it in Vegas. I'll just ring in. So I think that's the key, you know, doing whatever it takes to get where you want to be is being unstoppable. Like, doing what you said you were going to do in the first place. You know, committing to the goals that you set yourself, not just falling back into that trap. Getting up every morning with a vision, with a purpose, knowing that even if you don't do it that day, you're going to do it the following day. Knowing that even if it doesn't happen right away for you in your first year, in your second year, that it is going to happen. Look at every single successful person. Nobody's ever had an overnight success. Not one person, whether it's Steve Jobs, whether it's Bill Gates, whether it's, you know, Simon Cowell, whether it's these top sports stars, Ronaldo. You know, you're telling me these guys haven't been injured? You're telling me they haven't had setbacks? You're telling me they haven't had things go wrong in the personal life? Of course they have. Every single person has, and I have as well. But being unstoppable is retaining that vision, keeping it in your mind's eye, seeing it every morning when you wake up, and seeing it with the last thing that you do before you go to bed is you shut your eyes and you see that vision before you go to sleep. One thing I've started to do as well, from a physical point of view, it's really, really good for you from a physiological point of view, but also from kind of mindset thing. I always have cold showers now, like freezing cold. I only do it for like 2 minutes at the end of my shower. And that's kind of my time where I'm just grateful and thankful, and I put my vision in for the day, even reaffirming what I thought about the first thing when I got up. So it's like, I think that I would definitely recommend that to everybody because it stimulates your metabolism anyway. It gets you really fired up. It's also freezing cold, obviously, so it kind of shocks your body. But that's the time where you get like a minute where I just hammer my vision for that day, what I've got to do. I'm grateful for what I've got. And it's kind of like a prayer session where I'm just like, thank you, I've got to go out and do this, help me help these people, and so on and so on and so on. And I just hammer that with a freezing cold shower. I'm about to do that after this call, man. So, yeah, I'm pumped. I'm excited. I'm excited for all the listeners. I'm excited for you and what you've got coming up, because the fact of the matter is we're all totally in charge of our own destiny, and you've just got to do what you said you were going to do to get what you want. And that's what being unstoppable is to me. It's like I said, getting up every day and being that superhero version of you, not being the guy that society wants you to be. You know, society's suppressing us to be average, trying to keep us down, you know, to fit into the system, to fit into society's pyramid. And you've got to go, you know what, I'm going to be the superhero version of me, and I'm going to step out of that pyramid, and I'm going to create my own vision and my own future. And if you do that, then nothing is going to stop you.
Awesome. Very powerful. And I think, we lost some content the other day, but I think we've come back and 10x'd it with today's call. So incredibly honored to have you on the call again, John, and some absolutely stunning advice and nuggets for everyone to take away. And what I will say is the Unstoppable Tribe, there is a lot of followers in all kinds of different industries. And I think some of the material you put out is great for network marketers, of course, but I think some of the materials that you're sharing on a daily basis are relevant to any entrepreneur. So John, how can people follow your work?
Yeah, cool. So I do a podcast. We'll have to get you on as a guest as well, Dan, like we discussed before. johnandmark.co.uk is our the extra 10% podcast. That's just for entrepreneurs. It's kind of tips. Me and a buddy do that kind of stuff. We do a podcast once a week. And then my other stuff is johnholowatymentors.com, I think it is. I can't remember now. Yeah, it's definitely
anyway.
Yeah, it's johnholowatymentors.com. On that, I just write a daily email. It's for entrepreneurs, it's for network marketers, it's for anybody really that wants to kind of get more sales, build more vision, and just strengthen that belief muscle. I'm trying to do a lot of generic content because I want to help more people than just network marketers. And then you can obviously hit me up on Facebook and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, drop me a message. I'm happy to help anybody, like I said, and just great for the opportunity to be jumping on this call as well with you, Dan. So appreciate you inviting me on.
My pleasure. And I will say your email series is fantastic. I've done a lot of time studying what it takes to be successful with email marketing. And I think one of the things that you do incredibly well is just showcase your personality. There's so many stale emails that people just unsubscribe from, but not only are you getting great value from your content, but there's also just great personality coming through. And I think to be honest, I think that's the way of the world going forward. I think in terms of marketing, people need to inject more personality into their brand, and it's what's going to attract a tribe and a long-term lasting following. So commend you for the work you've done on your...
Yeah, I mean, if you don't like bad language and some crazy stories, then don't sign up. But if you like having a bit of fun and you don't mind a little bit of bad language, then get involved in it. It will be entertaining. I got to write one today about... The movie Straight Outta Compton. I mean, I watched that on the flight over here and took so many business lessons from that movie. It was insane. We could do another podcast just on discussing that, mate. It was incredible, so I'd really recommend that.
Awesome. All right, brother. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. Thanks very much for sharing all your wise words, and look forward to connecting with you again soon.
Yeah, cheers, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks to John for part 2 of an amazing interview. Please remember to subscribe to the Unstoppable podcast to ensure that you get notified of all the amazing episodes coming up each and every week. For those of you who would like to connect a little more deeply, I recently opened the free, private, Unstoppable Mastermind group on Facebook for the Unstoppable Tribe. So head on over to unstoppablepodcast.com/tribe to join a group of highly inspired entrepreneurs. Next week, I have the great pleasure of bringing Jonathan Mead to the show. He launched The Uncaged Man this week, which has been designed to help men to break free from the grind and to uncover what the wild man inside is capable of. Whilst this project is aimed at men, ladies, you will love this episode too. We'll be talking about how modern life has disconnected us from everything that makes us human, and how uncaging ourselves and connecting with our authentic self is not about losing ourselves in the wild and leaving the world we know behind, but how we can create a better balance between our primal nature and the chaos of modern civilization. Tune in to find out how you can reclaim your wildness, break free from the chains of domestication, and become the greatest version of you. Jonathan's just launched his new website over at uncagedman.com. So if you want to take a sneak peek, head over there now and take a look. You're in for one heck of a ride. Until next time, remember, you are unstoppable. Go out there, unleash your greatness, ignite your movement, and build your empire.